2002, Iraq did not have a nuclear bomb. But American leaders warned that waiting for certainty could end with a mushroom cloud. On September 8, 2002, National Security Advisor Condoleezza Rice was asked how quickly Saddam Hussein might acquire nuclear weapons. Her answer contained one of the most memorable phrases of the entire march to war. "We don't want the smoking gun to be a mushroom cloud." For an American public still traumatized by the September 11th attacks, the phrase suggested a terrifying possibility: a nuclear attack on an American city. In that atmosphere, waiting for definitive evidence no longer sounded cautious. It sounded dangerous. But how did disputed intelligence about the possible revival of Iraq's nuclear weapons program become a warning of imminent catastrophe? This is not the story of the entire Iraq War. It is the story of one fear: that Saddam Hussein was building a nuclear bomb. The fear did not appear from nothing. During the 1980s, Saddam Hussein's government had secretly pursued nuclear weapons. After the 1991 Gulf War, international inspectors uncovered hidden facilities and a much larger enrichment effort than Western governments had expected. Iraq had explored several methods of enriching uranium, including electromagnetic separation and gas centrifuges. The discovery shocked inspectors. Saddam Hussein had already proven that he was willing to hide prohibited programs from the outside world. During the 1990s, sanctions restricted Iraq's access to technology and materials. Inspectors dismantled equipment and attempted to verify that the prohibited program had ended. But years of obstruction and confrontation brought the inspection system to a breaking point. In late 1998, UN inspectors were withdrawn from Iraq. For the next 4 years, there were no international inspection teams on the ground. Intelligence agencies were left with incomplete information, unanswered questions, and Saddam's history of deception. In 2001, a specific piece of intelligence appeared. Iraq was attempting to purchase thousands of high-strength aluminum tubes. CIA analysts argued that the tubes were intended for gas centrifuges. Centrifuges could enrich uranium, and highly enriched uranium could be used to build a nuclear weapon. The tubes quickly became one of the strongest public arguments for an Iraqi bomb program. On September 8, 2002, an American newspaper published a front-page report stating that Iraq had intensified its pursuit of nuclear weapons. The report cited anonymous administration officials. The aluminum tubes were presented as important evidence. The same day, senior officials appeared on television and discussed the nuclear threat. A disputed intelligence assessment had entered the public information cycle, but inside the American government, there was a serious technical disagreement. The CIA supported the centrifuge interpretation. Specialists at the Department of Energy disagreed. These were the government experts with the deepest knowledge of uranium enrichment technology. They argued that the tubes were poorly suited for the centrifuge design being discussed. In their view, the specifications were more consistent with components for conventional rockets that Iraq had produced for years. The State Department's Intelligence Bureau, known as INR, also rejected the nuclear interpretation. The disagreement existed inside classified assessments, but it rarely accompanied the most frightening public claims. In speeches and interviews, the nuclear interpretation was presented clearly. The technical doubts remained inside annexes, footnotes, and intelligence documents that most citizens would never read. The aluminum tubes were not the only argument. A nuclear program would eventually require access to uranium. Reports began to circulate that Iraq had attempted to obtain large quantities of yellowcake uranium from Africa. In September 2002, a British government dossier stated that Iraq had sought significant quantities of uranium from Africa. It was a simple claim with a frightening implication. But the uranium story was also disputed. The State Department considered important parts of the reporting highly doubtful. Former Ambassador Joseph Wilson traveled to Niger and found no confirmation that the alleged sale had taken place. Documents describing a possible agreement with Niger were later examined by international inspectors. They were exposed as forgeries. Yet the broader allegation survived. It was simple, memorable, and easy to communicate. Saddam Hussein was searching for material for a bomb. In October 2002, the American intelligence community produced a national intelligence estimate, known as an NIE. It was the government's most authoritative assessment of the Iraqi threat. Its headline conclusion stated that Iraq was reconstituting its nuclear weapons program. But deeper inside the assessment, the language was less certain. It included words such as may, could, and if. And the State Department included a formal dissent. The State Department's Intelligence Bureau wrote, "The activities we have detected do not add up to a compelling case that Iraq is currently pursuing an integrated and comprehensive program to acquire nuclear weapons." This was not a minor technical detail. It was a disagreement about the central claim being used to describe the Iraqi nuclear threat. On October 7, 2002, President George W. Bush addressed the nation in Cincinnati. He told the public that the evidence indicated Iraq was rebuilding its nuclear weapons program. He also warned that if the Iraqi government obtained enough highly enriched uranium, it could build a nuclear weapon in less than a year. The key words were if and could. The statement described a conditional future possibility. But the message many viewers remembered was far simpler. Saddam Hussein is building a bomb. Why did the qualifications become less visible? After September 11th, the standard for acting against a threat had changed. A danger could be uncertain or unlikely. But if its possible consequence was a nuclear attack, even a small probability could be treated as unacceptable. In this new logic, waiting for stronger evidence was itself presented as a risk. On January 28, 2003, President Bush delivered his State of the Union address. He told Congress, "The British government has learned that Saddam Hussein recently sought significant quantities of uranium from Africa. The CIA had previously objected to similar uranium language in an October presidential speech. But when the allegation returned in January, attributed to the British government, it survived the review process. Months later, the White House acknowledged that the sentence should not have been included. Meanwhile, international inspectors had returned to Iraq. In late 2002, teams from the United Nations and the International Atomic Energy Agency began examining suspected sites, imported equipment, and the allegations about uranium. The head of the IAEA, Mohammed El-Baradi, focused directly on the nuclear case. On March 7, 2003, less than 2 weeks before the invasion, El-Baradi reported to the United Nations Security Council. He said, "After 3 months of intrusive inspections, we have found no evidence or plausible indication of the revival of a nuclear weapons program in Iraq." The IAEA found no indication that the aluminum tubes had been imported for uranium enrichment. It also concluded that documents supporting the alleged Niger uranium transaction were not authentic. The inspectors did not say Saddam Hussein was trustworthy. They asked for more time to complete their work. But for the United States government, the time for inspections was running out. On March 20, 2003, the invasion of Iraq began. One of its central stated purposes was to disarm Iraq of weapons of mass destruction. After Baghdad fell, the United States created the Iraq Survey Group. The group included approximately 1,500 personnel. Investigators examined suspected facilities, government files, and the testimony of Iraqi scientists. They searched for the active nuclear weapons program that had been presented as an urgent danger. The conclusion was clear. Iraq did not have an active nuclear weapons program. Investigators found no undeclared stockpile of weapons-usable nuclear material. they found no evidence that Iraq had rebuilt its bomb-making capability after 1991. Saddam Hussein continued to value nuclear weapons. Iraq preserved scientific knowledge, and some officials believed prohibited capabilities might be rebuilt if international sanctions disappeared. But a possible future ambition was not the same thing as an active weapons program in 2003. Iraq had no bomb. It was not close to producing one. In the years after the invasion, official investigations in the United States and Britain examined why the pre-war assessments had been so wrong. They identified a systemic failure. Analysts placed too much weight on information that supported their expectations. Uncertain reports were layered on top of one another, and when intelligence moved from the analyst's desk to the political speech, many of its qualifications disappeared. So, was Iraq a nuclear threat in 2003? There was no bomb. There was no active program. There was a dictator who had pursued nuclear weapons in the past and hoped to preserve the option of returning to them someday. But the mushroom cloud was more than an intelligence claim. It was a symbol. It transformed a disputed future possibility into an image of immediate catastrophe. The Iraqi nuclear case shows what can happen when fear moves faster than evidence. The mushroom cloud never appeared, but the fear of it had already changed history.